All right, I hope you were successful in completing that example. Now, I think the first difficulty we run into with this particular exercise is determining whether you're going to use call, apply, or bind. Now, in order to determine that, you got to remember the differences. Call and apply invoke the function right away. And in the case of both of these, both example 1 and example 3, we are actually passing a function, in this case a method, passing it to be called later. One to the do function method, and then it's called back, and then one is an event listener. And so since we're passing a function to be called later, the best thing to use would be bind, because remember, bind returns a function. And we want to pass a function anyway, so let's get a function that's returned with the keyword this bound to that function. And so that's what we can use to solve both of these. There's also another method we could use here, which I'll show after we look at bind. So I'm going to do dot bind and then pass in obj as the object that will be bound to this. And let's go ahead and check that out. We'll save that. And as we can see, it's displaying Steve. So that's working for us. Now we'll go down to this one here and we'll do the same thing. Dot bind, passing in obj. Save that one. Now in this case, we're going to have to click on this title. We already have Steve showing up for the first one, but if we click on the title, we get Steve showing again. So now both of those are working. Now, as a reminder, we looked at a different way to accomplish this, and this is sometimes used, well, not sometimes, it's probably used pretty frequently actually to accomplish the same thing. And that is by passing in an anonymous function. And then inside of that anonymous function, invoking the function we want to. And that handles this correctly so that the object bound to this is not lost. So we could do that like this. There's our anonymous function that we're passing in. And then inside of that anonymous function, we're going to go ahead and invoke obj.displayName. Now in this case, we're not passing in a function. This is the function we passed in. And so now we want to invoke it when this function starts to run. So we use parentheses after that. Now if we go ahead and save that, oh, let me comment out this one first. Now we'll save it. Jump out here. Now if we click, that one works for us as well. So both of those methods are used to solve that problem when we're passing in a function to an event listener. Sometimes we just use the anonymous function. I probably use that more than I use bind, but I think overall they're both used pretty frequently. So whichever you prefer, go ahead and add that as a common practice when you're developing in JavaScript. All right, with that exercise accomplished, let's go ahead and move on.